Right, I'm trying to set this up for some decent accuracy, which some people will laugh at given the condition of the mill. However, I don't think there's any reason why it shouldn't be set up pretty well. So to that end, I've machined up this fixture plate, which as you can see has a small gap underneath it, about 1 mm. The only point of contact with the mill is a pad around this slot, which actually touches the bed. So this clamping bolt here holds this fixture plate down, and the head bolts on to these 4 holes here. Now what I noticed is when I clamp it down at this end with the head on it, that this end of the head actually comes up a little bit. So obviously this plate's not level when it's clamped, because it's actually lifting the head. And that is exactly right. So if I transition this across here, you can see the gauge is starting at about 0. It goes down a small amount, 0.01 mil, and then it starts creeping up. So basically the little pad on the bottom, which is a non-machined surface, exactly the same as the surface we're looking at here. The two surfaces are not parallel. They're at a slight angle. So what I'm going to do is flip it over, clamp it down on this surface, and take a little whisker off the pad that's on the bottom that's still unmachined, and hopefully that'll get this surface parallel with the surface of the little mounting pad. So these fixture plates have not been coming out how I wanted, due to me not building them properly, due to not really knowing what I'm doing. So mate Kev has set me straight. So what I need to do is actually machine this whole surface so it's flat, and then flip it over, and then the piece that actually anyway, and then there's machining to be done on the other side. Now this surface needs to be machined first, but I need to hold it down. Now what I don't want to do is machine the surface except where the clamps are going to be, and then machine off that bit. This bit's of no use, it's just spare aluminium basically. So what I'm going to do is machine off these bits where the clamps are going to go, and then I'm going to clamp it down in these locations. Now to get things all level and stress-free, Kev has lent me there's 3 washers here. 2 you can see here, and there's 1 tucked away under here. Now these washers are they're ground really well. They're essentially 1/4 of an inch, just a whisker under. So I'll put them underneath here on the previously machined surface, just holding it down. So that hopefully will not be imparting any twisting, or minimizing the twisting on this thing. I don't know if you can see it, but I've cleaned this bed down really well, and these washers with a nice finish, you stick them on here, and when you got to lift them off, they're actually stuck to it, just because of the good finish versus the good finish on the washers. So anyway, gonna take probably just 1 millimeter off here. Even 1/2 millimeter would do it. It just needs to be below, actually I'll make it 1 millimeter because I want to take about 1/2 mil off this. It just needs to be below what this level is, so that once it's machined this and flipped over, this portion is the bit that's on the table. This bit where the clamps are just needs to be not on the table. So 1 millimeter here, 1/2 millimeter here. We'll see how it goes. Both fixture plates are finished. ready to bolt onto the cylinder head and then onto the mill. So it was the same technique used on both of them. First off, I needed to get this surface here flat as a reference. To do that, I needed to clamp it down. So what I did was, it's hard to see, but I've actually milled this bit here off so that when I've finished machining this surface, it's still above this. So if I clamped it down on the same level, I would have to, after I finish this, then go back and machine the part that was under the clamp. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to set it up, clamped, machine this completely, and then carry on the process. So machined this right off so that there it was below the finished level of this bit, and there's a similar point here which is machined off just enough for the clamp to fit in between the where the bolts go through onto the cam cap parts of the cylinder head. Now, so once that's machined and then clamped down on these two locations, I then machined this surface here, including over top of these holes down the back here. So this bit, so all of this is all one level. Now it's the same technique here. So lower bit machined down, all the way down. There's a small pad here machined down below the level. Once that's done, and that was done with this there was one of these washers, grounder size, just all three fractionally under 1/4 inch, one under this corner, one under this corner, and one under here, and then there was clamps put on top. So there was no twisting imparted on the block at all. It was just simply held down. Now once I got this bit all flat, flipped it over, same thing again with the washers, one under this corner, one under this corner, and one over here in the middle. Now this surface and this surface is below the bit where I want it to be absolutely parallel to the other side, the other surface. So with a washer under here, and a washer under here, underneath the fairway, so it had to, the washer had to be under this bit, and then clamped down. This surface, when machined, should be perfectly parallel to the surface underneath, and there's no twisting put into the plate when it's clamped down. It's a 3-point fastening, so it should have remained flat. And then I just cut back and forth with a 10mm cutter, progress 6mm each time, and then just to be absolutely sure, cut in this direction, and again with a 10mm cutter, 6mm progress each step, and just stepped it across. You can see marks, but if you had your eyes closed, you wouldn't be able to tell. You wouldn't be able to tell. There is marks there, but you couldn't tell. You know, it's just slightly rough. And this one is essentially the same. It's just a single pad here, where one bolt goes through and bolts it down onto the mill. This side connects to the cylinder head. This side goes to the mill. The cylinder head attaches here and here. This bit with a recess in the middle doesn't matter. There's no metal on the cylinder head. So, time to fit it up, see how it goes. Well, I'm pretty happy how this one turned out. Just in case you're wondering. Not bad, I thought, not bad. Right, end result, not too bad, not too bad. Got a reasonable finish. You can't feel any of the marks you can see there. Although the gauge, the indicator does bounce up and down a little bit. Basically it's dead flat. It does have 4/1000 shims under the fixture plate at this end, but that's just to get this surface lined up with the original surface as it was previously machined, so that I cut it exactly the same slope. So there's a little 4/1000 shim needed under the end here, at which point this is level just like it was before.